Welcome to Unleashed. Has Lucasfilm found its Kevin Feige?
Welcome to Unleashed. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are the guys.
Hey everyone, this is Unleashed. Give us a like, subscribe, hit the bell. We're going to talk Jon Favreau and the wonderful world of Star Wars. A long time ago in a galaxy far away, Disney purchased Lucasfilm for $4 billion. What a steal. Great ride. They've earned that money back, blah, 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 blah. But now it seems like it's in a dark place. Fans are rioting. Critics are despising what's coming. They've canceled The Acolyte. No more Boba Fett. Obi-Wan Kenobi's in limbo. We don't know what's happening. We know that they have a lot of faith and a lot of trust in Jon Favreau. He is the man, of course, that brought us the Mandalorian season 1, 2, Boba Fett, and season 3. Whatever you think of season 3, he did bring us season 3.
I have spoken.
All that said, Lucasfilm is in a dark spot. Star Wars is in a dark spot. Well, Lucasfilm too, though, with that Indiana Jones disaster. But Lucasfilm, Star Wars is in a dark spot. Now, reports have come out that Filoni is in charge of the live action stuff. He's going to oversee everything. But now, from WDW Pro over on the YouTube, you can check it out. They've had some like leaks and spoilery stuff in the past. It's kind of, some of it's been hit and miss, so take this all with obviously a grain of salt. But they're suggesting that Jon Favreau is going to be the head honcho of Star Wars going forward. Maybe not everything, but for the next 10 years, they're speculating. And on top of that, this falls into play with what Giancarlo Esposito said and that Mando and Grogu trilogy of movies. Now, obviously, there won't be any more TV shows, so maybe he's manning the movie aspect of Star Wars going forward because we know Ahsoka season 2 is happening, but he is somewhat involved in that. Now, Filoni, on the other hand, everyone had all faith in Filoni. He's great. He knows Star Wars inside out. He was George Lucas's right-hand man. All that was true, is true, and will remain to be true. However, maybe he's not the person to oversee the scope of something like Star Wars, to oversee the whole film landscape of what Star Wars is. It might have been too much for him. I think he did a great job with his directing so far. I've actually been impressed with everything. I just rewatched Mandalorian episode 1 on Friday, I think it was, and that show, I'm going to do a full rewatch on that series. I have a video coming out about that episode that is it is the pinnacle of excellence, of TV excellence. But Jon Favreau leading the charge in the new series of films makes a lot of sense, at least to me. I know people can talk about season 3 and how it wasn't great, and then there's Boba Fett, which he was heavily involved in, but also there was Rodriguez and Filoni, and then Ahsoka, which was mostly Filoni. So it hasn't been all gravy there. However, if you think about it, the Star Wars sequel trilogy came and it was a big mess, right? Because they didn't have an end plan. You had The Force Awakens, you had Rian Johnson, and you had J.J. Abrams' Return, and they were oil and water. Their movies didn't jive together. They didn't have an ending plan. They didn't know where they were going. No one knew what was going on. And as an audience, you feel lost and you just don't have trust in what you're watching anymore, or faith in what you're watching, and you question what's going on. What was the point of what you're seeing is really what happens at the end of the day. And Star Wars now is in such like a dark cloud of time after, like I've said, we got all these other financial failures on TV, I suppose you could say, that they need to win the trust back of the fans. And I've always said the Mando and Grogu movie is that first olive branch that they're throwing out to us. They're like, hey, look at this. But I think Favreau is that second olive branch. There's multiple. I love olives. There's multiple olive branches, but they're going to throw out this Jon Favreau now because look, when Star Wars was first in its first rot post George Lucas, because the prequels were a rot. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember, but man, if you like the prequels, that was a rough time because you got pooed on badly. But we gloss over that.
Good job.
Since then, the newest dark time now, Favreau came in like Miley Cyrus.
I came in like a wrecking ball
and resurrected Star Wars with the Mandalorian. I mean, it wasn't dead, but he resurrected it with the Mandalorian. This was the first time since The Force Awakens where it felt like fan unity in a lot of ways, right? It felt like, okay, this is Star Wars. We all enjoy Star Wars again. We're on this adventure again for Star Wars with Mandalorian and this Grogu character and all these fun, Quill. We can't forget Quill.
I have spoken.
Don't forget Quill. Quill was great. But we're on this adventure again. And Favreau brought us back into that. I remember that Star Wars celebration in Chicago at the panel when he talked about how excited he was and how everybody on that panel, from Carl Weathers to Gina Carano to Pedro Pascal, to everybody was just so thrilled and excited for the show, and how it honored the old Star Wars but also brought in the new. And one thing he's done, even in season 3, is he's brought in a lot of the prequel stuff and a lot of the original trilogy stuff. It's been a blending of it all. And on top of all that, leading us into the sequel trilogy, bringing us into the sequels, which I know a lot of people don't enjoy. And they're like, well, I don't want to lead to the sequels. And that's the other thing. I really don't believe we're heading to the sequels anymore. I think the sequels, like I've said this so many times, but I really believe the sequels are left and we're going right. The sequels went left and we're going on this direction right now. We're going to follow Mando, Grogu, Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra, Thrawn, Hera, who else? Balin, Shin Hati, all these characters. We're going with them on a separate journey from what we saw over here because it's a big galaxy. It's a massive, and there's more galaxies. We went to a different galaxy in Ahsoka. There's the unknown regions. There's a lot going on, and we're going to go in that way, in that direction. And WW Pro on YouTube is suggesting that Favreau is the one to shepherd us in that direction, to shepherd Star Wars in that direction. And it really feels like this is the last hope for Star Wars. I said, Skeleton Crew, they need Skeleton Crew to hit. But it's also like Skeleton Crew is also in a really tough bind right now, because if Skeleton Crew is really good, it's still going to have the naysayers. It's still the Acolyte, fallout from the Acolyte and whatever came before, like Mandalorian season 3 that people didn't like in Book of Boba Fett and the movies, all that stuff, it's still too fresh in people's mind for them, I think, to fully embrace Skeleton Crew. But I think Skeleton Crew's got to hit, because if it's good, if people bash it and it's good, there's a difference between if people bash it and it's mediocre and it's not quality. And I think that the tell is, I think the Acolyte, I think they overvalued what they had in the Acolyte. They thought the Acolyte was going to be a big, massive hit in the summer. But I think Skeleton Crew is coming out at Christmas time for several reasons. I think you've got the kid factor, right? Kids are home for the holidays. They want to watch their adventures, and this is it. But 2, it's December. Star Wars, the old Lucas ways was they own May. But with the Disney era, Star Wars has owned December. December has been what they have had, and they kind of lost that with Solo, and we haven't really, like Book of Boba Fett came out on the 31st, and that felt great. And then even Mando was November, so it bled into that. The first season of Mando bled into that. And Skeleton Crew is back to this, and I think they have a belief in this more so than Ahsoka. I think they expected more from Ahsoka, but I think this is the true Star Wars show that they have, and I think they feel like they have something memorable and valuable on their hands. Now, if it doesn't hit, if it's good and it doesn't hit, they're in a better boat. But if it doesn't hit, it's bad, then they're aggressors. You can watch my video on that on the channel. Skeleton Crew aside, because that is part of this universe, obviously, and I think they are ushering us in this new direction with Jon Favreau at the helm, figuring it all out. So now, with Favreau here, Filoni right under him, and then so and so and so, you can build your story base. And if it is true, if what WDW Pro is saying is true, and they're tapping him to be in charge for 10 years. Now, they don't know if he wants to accept it or not, but if he wants this 10 years, then you can plan out your 10 years of Star Wars. And I said this on, I think, Saving or Fixing or whatever Star Wars video I did. You can check it out up here. You do your planning, which ushers you through those 10 years. And I've said this for I think a couple years now, but The Mandalorian, what it did so well is it had a group of directors, of highly skilled, talented directors who crushed it, who appreciate Star Wars. But not only that, they worked incredibly well with Jon Favreau. They understood the assignment and they made it work. And they weren't all, the styles and genres weren't all different. They fit in, but they all clearly embraced it. And they keep coming back. And I know it's a paycheck, but they keep coming back. I'm sure they could do other shows if they wanted, but they keep coming back. They clearly enjoy this world and enjoy this material that they're working in, the sandbox that they're playing in. I would suggest that Jon Favreau takes these 10 years, plots out his movies, and hires those people. I can't say this enough. Hire those directors that you have in your arsenal already. Make Star Wars every couple years. I wouldn't do it every year. I don't think it needs to be theatrical every year. I think that's kind of redundant. I think that's how you kill the joy and excitement. I mean, it was fun every year going in December to see it. But when you get it every year, you kind of kill the excitement of going. Ask Marvel, right? Marvel was like unstoppable for a while. And then because when your storyline ends, that ends. But I think a 10-year plan with the directors that you have at your disposal right now, with Favreau's understanding of the MCU, of how making a giant universe work. Now, Star Wars is very different from the MCU. They are not comparable, except that they are massive tentpole franchises that are event films that want you to get in for those event films. Now, I think Star Wars has to be more Lord of the Rings, but if we're comparing it to the MCU, it's got to be Avengers. The first movie has to be Avengers, and the next one has to be Avengers, and every single Star Wars movie has to be Avengers. I know Mando and Grogu is the first one coming out, but I think we stay away from the singular character driven films. Stay away from the singular character films. Bring it back into everyone's assembling for the team up. This is Star Wars. It's a big universe. You're not here for one person, and you tell those stories, you make it work. And then when you have Favreau at the helm, he can dictate, this is the beginning, this is the middle, and this is how we're going to end. And if you want to go in different directions while you're in that, you do that. If something hits that you didn't expect to hit, you can take that off. As long as you know where your story is ending up, you should be fine. I've been saying this forever about Favreau. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. I think he should get this ball and run with it. I don't know, again, what they're saying is not 100% true or guaranteed yet, but this is what apparently Lucasfilm and Disney wants, and I think they need it, because Kathleen Kennedy is Kathleen Kennedy, but she has more balls there. Apparently there's a new Indiana Jones movie coming about a young Indiana Jones or something. So she has more movies to deal with than just the Star Wars universe. Like Feige only has to worry about the Marvel characters. She's got a little bit more and whatever. Who knows what else? And I'm not, whatever. But Favreau can just deal with Star Wars, just deal with this. And he's dealing with characters and the time period that he knows that he's basically created. And if you take away having to lead to the sequels, I think you can still give us tidbits to what's going on there. But if you strip that and you give them a clear path to do whatever they want, how can you not be excited about that? How can this not be something that you're looking forward to in Star Wars? Like, you take this and you run with it, and all of a sudden you have characters that most fans still love. I know people are like, season three sucked. That's 1 out of 3. That's fine. If you didn't like it, consider it a hiccup and let's move on and enjoy this damn crap, because that's what it's for entertainment, right? So we can complain about it, but maybe the next one's the best one. Every TV show has had a stumbling. Every TV show has stumbled in the past. Every TV show stumbles at some point. Now that I say that, you're probably going to comment, this one didn't stumble, but whatever, you get my point. It stumbled. I liked it. It stumbled though, and we can move on and get excited for this movie that I think, from what I've seen, it looks fantastic. It just looks epic. I can't wait to see the Mando and Grogu movie. But if it is that, and if that's really good, then you're going to get them to the next one. But I think Favreau is a key part of all of this, to make sure that we have a coherent story in the future of Star Wars. Because if you just keep making individual singular films that don't connect, they can be great. And I think you start there. I think Mando and Grogu should be that. But when you do that and you don't connect, the audience is just, now like new age audiences are like, why am I doing this? Because look, there's no precedent really other than Marvel. There's no precedent for how this operates. This isn't how movies ever were. You had serials, which were however long. You'd go into the theater to watch those things. That's what Lucas obviously did when he came up, when as a kid he came up with Indiana Jones based on that. But we've never had, this is unprecedented territory right now that we're living in, because movies haven't caught up to where we are yet. We are here in this new age of storytelling, and it's exciting times. But you need to have a coherent story. You have to have a beginning, middle, and end. And I think Marvel obviously kind of, I don't think they started knowing exactly where they were going. They did their one-offs, and that's fine. But Star Wars is starting at a different point. But eventually they knew they were getting to Endgame. And on top of that, and then when you get out of Endgame, they don't know where they're going after that, right? That was the problem I think people had with Phase, whatever phase that was, but they didn't feel like they didn't feel like it had the storyline, like a purpose. They weren't sure what they were watching or why they were watching it. They weren't into the individual films anymore. As great as they might have been, that's not what they're there. They're here for the bigger picture. So you can watch a film individually, but tell me what the bigger picture is within that film. And I think, look, I said this on a live stream a little while ago, but I think if they would have done a better job of combining Last Jedi with Solo, and DJ mentioning the crime, how the money's being operated here and there on that, and then you have Darth Maul and Kira and Crimson Dawn, you could have tied, even though they take place 20 years, whatever, apart from 30 years, whatever it is, apart from each other, you still could have connected those dots. You could have connected them a little bit more, but there was no foresight involved. There was no planning. They were just making things up. But now you have an opportunity to do all that. By the way, Kira not appearing in Book of Boba Fett still think was a big misstep on their part. But that's besides the point. What I'm saying is you have an opportunity to do something cool now, to tell this really cool Star Wars story, to bring Star Wars back to the forefront. Obviously, Favreau has a love for George Lucas. He's invited him on the set. He's shown up on the set. You do that. You have great PR with that. You get the fans back on board. You promise them Star Wars, and you make Star Wars, and you have a plan. And the minute fans get a fun, delightful movie,
I think it's important that there just needs to be more fun being had. It's very hard to have fun right now.
with a coherent story, and if they feel like that you know where you're going, they will be along for the ride. Not all will be forgotten, but you're on the right path. And I think Favreau, if this report is true, Favreau, I have trust in him. I said this on my Friday Unleashed too about Mandalorian Grogu and how I think it's going to be a great movie. I have faith in Favreau. I say, let's go along for that ride. Let's take it. What do you guys think? Mandalorian Grogu going to be good? Favreau leading the ship of Star Wars. Is he going to be the captain of the Millennium Falcon going forward? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe. And until next time, may the force of others be with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.